Hi, I'm Tim Carberry, Managing Partner with CastleHill Management Solutions. Thanks for joining us today. In this relatively brief session, we're going to go over a number of topics, so I do encourage you to reach out to us in the chat, through the conference software, or at the special virtual booth that we've set up at www.castlehillrisk.com just for this event. We'll provide with demonstrations, have additional conversation, provide you more information for anything that you may hear about during this session or across the overall session at the conference. We're also going to play a little bit of a buzzword bingo game where as you hear any buzzwords or buzzword phrases, note them down, send them to us in an email, and you'll be eligible to win a $100 Amazon gift card. So join along with us as we play the game. For our first topic, we're going to talk about something which is very important in these little bit more challenging times, which is the idea that we need to be able to be more efficient and more effective within our Archer platforms and drive down the support cost. This is particularly important, like as I said, in these more difficult times that we have right now, where the cost of your risk management software needs to be driven down, commensurate with where the business activities are going, as well as to get more efficiency and more effectiveness out of it. So here's a couple of tips. First off, evaluate your documentation package. Are you actually getting the right kinds of requirements? Are you being able to interact with your end users and your requirements teams in a way that is effective and provides that collaboration that's there? So look at how your intake process is structured, look at how your requirements documentation is going, and that'll help you with some of these pieces. Second, look at your implementation methodology. We talk a lot about Agile or Waterfall or combinations of the both, but really you want to think about, is this the most efficient and effective way to actually do your implementation? There are some tricks about how to do that. Reach out to us. We're happy to talk about them further. Third, look at establishing some tools and some measures, as well as an escalation process for when your environment's not running well. You can waste a lot of time and get a lot of frustration by chasing after red herrings or false trails within the application space when it's not running very well. Having those measures will allow you to objectively say, yes, we are actually having some sort of a performance improvement, or we're not, relative to the activities going on within the platform. And then fourth, and this is a little bit different, look at ways to actually expand the usage of your platform. Are there use cases or applications that you're not using that could be more effective for the business overall? And so it's not just about the reduction of the support cost of the Archer platform, but reducing the overall cost footprint for the company through more efficient tools and capabilities that you've already spent the money for. When we come back to that methodology piece, it's extremely important as well to think about how we can drive a better methodology through this. And again, at CastleHill, we have a number of ways in which we can help you with that. So please do reach out to us and we'll talk further about it overall. Our next topic is going to be user experience, typically a difficult subject within the Archer platform, but one that's really been getting a lot better in the last couple of versions. So the UI changes that have been made, the modernization of the UI, the data integration capabilities have really allowed us to do a better job of servicing the risk management and audit users who are typically the primary constituents for the Archer platform. We're going to make a lot of strides in that area using custom controls that are upgrade safe, that are actually effective at helping users get to the information that they need in real time or in a timely fashion overall. But we still have that first line user, the people who are actually responding or providing the information into the platform, where we need that accurate, timely information to come in so we can actually perform our risk management activities on it. And for that community, we need to design a little bit differently. We need to think outside of the box. And in CastleHill, we like to think outside of the box with the CAP. The CAP is short for the CastleHill Assessment Portal, and that's an external tool that interacts with the Archer platform. Archer always remains a system of record. So you create an assessment, you create a questionnaire inside of Archer that's extracted to the CAP. The CAP then presents that to that more casual or occasional user who can't be bothered with training, wants to see something in a very effective and basic web form. They want to be able to get in without a lot of difficulty from a user provisioning perspective. They don't want a lot of clicks. All of those things, the CAP helps to drive. And so the CAP is a great way to think outside the box, get away from creating over-complex applications within your Archer environment that are trying to service both constituencies, the core risk management teams and audit teams, as well as those end user communities, and really be able to be much more targeted and efficient and do those things. The CAP also drives better engagement because people aren't going to be afraid to come in and do what they need to do within the platform because they're going to go into something which is very comfortable to them. It really helps to get you better information in a much more timely fashion. And for our next topic, we're going to carry on from that user experience concept and talk about some of those integration capabilities and techniques that are available within the platform from version 6.7 on up. And so the data gateway and the CastleHill meta detective are really the stars of the show in this particular area. So let's just paint the scenario. So there may be some companies that don't have an identity and access management tool across the company, and they may not have an enterprise capability. They may also just be looking to do a very small subset of tools within this capability, and Archer provides a great way of doing that from an attestation and an access management perspective. But it's very difficult to get that information out of Archer or get it out of some of those systems that may be living within your risk ecosystem. And so we use MetaDetective, which is a tool that actually inspects the metadata and the environment structure of Archer to capture the information about users, roles, groups, those permissions, the applications they have access to, all those sort of capabilities. And then we use the data gateway to provide that information to the group owner so that they can evaluate whether the group actually has the appropriate permissions within the platform, and to the actual managers so that they can determine whether their directs have the right access or have the right roles and groups granted to them to do their job and are not over-provisioned or don't have other capabilities. You can also, through the data gateway, now expand that to other tools that may live within your risk ecosystem, and you get a fairly lightweight and efficient access attestation tool. And so, again, the stars of the show here are data gateway and the MetaDetective. We're using the access attestation as a methodology to do it. It may suit your needs overall, it may not, but come and look at the access attestation use case and provide you with a demonstration. And we can talk more about how the data gateway can help improve that information retrieval in just-in-time style and move that forward. For our next topic, we're going to talk about regulatory change management. It's a very important part of risk management overall. And it's something where we partner with Wolters Kluwer, who's another platinum sponsor for the conference, to actually drive a very effective process that is helping a lot of customers improve their capabilities in the regulatory change management space. We'll also talk about how we're now applying this to the healthcare space towards the end of this little section. So the first piece is let's talk about regulatory change management, because there's really two main components to it. There's the actual capturing of regulatory changes, and we do that through the partnership with Wolters Kluwer, where the Wolters Kluwer team is identifying those regulatory changes and providing them to the Archer platform as a well-structured set of information that we can drive into the corporate obligations use case. The second part of it is that once it's in the corporate obligations use case, how do you actually react to it? So having a process that CastleHill has built in doing these things allows us to very, very efficiently and very quickly implement the capability for our customers. And so having this content and process part working well together really drives that efficiency. What are some of the key aspects of that? So the changes that are coming through need to be evaluated at the very beginning of the capability to say, is there something which is going to be material to the company? So that compliance or legal person who's helping to provide that gateway into the platform. But once it gets beyond that gateway, then it needs to get to the right people. And we do that through effective use of what we call the business hub within CastleHill, the enterprise use case data elements, and drive that to the right people within the Archer platform or within the business to actually react to those changes. And that's a key part of that, getting it to the right people so that they can react effectively, even if that reaction is simply to say, we're covered. Our policy manages this. We have a third party who's got a legal agreement in place who's doing this, whatever their appropriate response is going to be, or if they need to actually be a project associated with it. The other thing I want to announce, as I mentioned at the beginning, is that we're now also doing this for healthcare content. So we're using the Wolters Kluwer MediReg product to drive that same sort of an activity through the Archer platform. So for any hospital or health provider, any of those different pieces, we're using the MediReg content and want to get that same change management capability through the Archer platform, we're now able to do that through a special integration that we've created with that MediRegs team. And this is a little bit different than what we get in the financial services world, just because of the way in which the content is structured and the way in which the content comes through the platform. But it's very effective and follows that same idea of capturing those changes, getting the changes to the right people within the compliance organization who can make a quick decision, and then getting it out to those business users who can actually determine whether or not there's going to be an impact relative to that change and moving that through the process and life cycle. That's all of the different pieces we want to talk. I know this is a very rapid fire activity and it's a brief conversation. Don't forget to send in your buzzword as part of our buzzword bingo game to make sure that you're entered to win that $100 Amazon gift card. And also don't hesitate to reach out to us in the chat, as I mentioned before, or at CastleHill Risk at www.castlehillrisk.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the show.